You're right, everybody. Something to break the pace here. Today I'm going to be showing off Dwayna's Duos, a special tournament format that is only in the game for a brief window, that is not conquest-based. It's 2v2 oriented. Really kind of fun. I've only participated in 2 of these so far, but it's really, as far as I can see so far, heavy on the buildcraft side of the game, and the fact it's not conquest changes a lot, like, you know, how valuable your elite is, the value of high cooldown elites versus low cooldown elites, all the different ways you're going to synergize with your ally. As far as I can tell, there's kind of 3 different main compositional ways through it, and we'll talk about them. First of all, I guess, showing off the comp I've gone with here on this particular tournament. So here I am queuing with a Reaper. We're going to see if we can go the distance. Each of these tournaments do have lots of brackets. Because it's not 5v5 anymore, but it's just 2v2. It actually feels really good to climb in this tournament, because you know that there are like 30, 40 other teams that have all been eliminated, and yet you've kept rising and rising and rising. Pretty fun. So, you will see here the combo that I'm running with is me on Tempest support with my ally on Reaper damage. So, we're kind of the Heart of Thorns version of the current Path of Fire meta Firebrand Scourge, right? So, this concept would be to be a support plus a DPS, okay? Which is one of the 3 ways to play, support plus DPS. I also believe you can probably double up on fairly hybrid-y builds to just grind through attrition that support one another quite a lot. And then probably there's a 3rd type as well, which is running double DPS builds that spike really heavily together, like, say, running a Core Guard with a Rev, or running, you know, a Sikkim Soul Beast with a Thief, you know, any different variant of that you like. So we're all here on the bottom left corner, and the game is really kind of fast in how the builds work. What I'm going to do right here at the start is press B to look at my enemy team, to look at the comp of the enemies, and remember the elite specialization icons are in the game now, so what I can do is make a reasonably educated guess as to what they're running. So actually, I'm in comms here, and I think I've just been told what they're running. I haven't looked on this particular round. We'll see it later. But so, based on their icons, we know that they're power. So what I'm doing here is swapping from fire to earth. Fire being more of a Condi version, reducing version of this build, and earth being more of a flat damage reduction version. Don't take what you see on these videos as gospel, even if I'm very successful in this video, or even if I'm not. You know, think for yourselves about the builds you're running. I've got a lot of ideas and refinements and changes I want to make, so, you know, don't obsess over this. But anyway, running Earth here gives us this extremely important trait here, which is protection on all the auras I throw out, which is really, really, really good against power damage. Gives me Obsidian Flesh faster, which is really good, again, if I'm actually getting focused by power damage, and as well as, you know, a lot of other stuff. Lots of these cooldowns. Cooling down quick is nice. And then finally, Stone Heart, uncrittable in Earth, is a massive difference, but only for my sustain, which I kind of need because I'm an Ellie in light armor and low vitality and blah, blah, blah. Also, we don't need the middle trait here. We take the bottom one, and that's it. So one of the things I really like about this specific setup here is, if you're gonna counter comp your opponent, it's just swap a line and you're kind of done, you know. I could go crazier and go with sigils and stuff, but there's kind of that really distinct swap, and it's completely retooled me, really, in what I'm fighting against. So yeah, this is round 1, the beginning of the tournament. So unlike a lot of and there's a good case in point here. A lot of people complain about the matchmaking in Guild Wars 2. Like, they really complain about it. Tournaments have no matchmaking except the matchmaking that is inherent to the tournament format, all right? So who I'm against right now could be of any skill level. This could be the hardest fight I've ever played in Conquest, or it could be a really easy match, or it could be an average. I don't know, right? But the vast majority of players are here right at the start, so what will we come against, guys? Is it going to be like plat level gameplay we're going to come against here with no matchmaking? Is it going to be gold, silver? Does silver exist? I mean, I know it does, but only as a decay. I'm convinced only as far as decay is concerned, but hey. Bronze? What is it that we're going to see? You have to be at least somewhat in tuned to Guild Wars 2 to know that the special tournament's going on and stuff. So whoever we're fighting can't be that bad, right? So, well, let's see. The other synergies here, really, that I just want to establish is I throw a lot of chill around that the Reaper gets a lot of value out of. The way that dancing in and out of Shroud works, combined with the way that getting value of the end of Overloads works, is a really fun part of this 2v2. And, you know, I get various utilities that Firebrands could struggle a little bit with, namely Shocking Aura is the big one. But also, you know, I can provide buffs that can't be corrupted and... Well, anyway, we've got lots of matchups to go through here. So, round one, we come up the side here on the Hall of Mist. I'm not very good at this map. I don't really know much about it. I'd heard negative things about it in the past. I actually really like both the maps at the moment. I'm loving these tournaments. They're really cool. So, the Hollow comes up here, and his ally is kind of slow, and it's not looking very good. And then the Hollow pops a really important defensive before we've even started hitting him. We're just poking him with a staff right now. That's it. I could have blasted Mike, by the way. We'll talk about that later, I guess. So, I anticipate that this guy's probably going to jump shot over to us. So, I use this. It looks like he just regular jumped, but I unblockably... Not that he was blocking there, I don't think. This is just the damage reducer, right? It's not the same as the wall. In any case, we knock him down. We take some axe. So, that axe attack there from my ally is really good. It builds his shroud up, which keeps him safe for later. Here I'm air overloading because I have a target below me and I know I can hit him. And what this is going to do is Shocking Aura and us and stuff for when we go for the push in a second. So I take that. What is this blue ring down here? What is that? Wait, what is that blue ring? I don't know what that blue ring is. That looks really strange to me. Am I being a moron? I'm pretty tired as I record this video. It looked like a healing... Oh, my God! That's that new rune, isn't it? That's the Meadow. That guy's running the Meadow rune. Oh, my Lord. Wow, what is this weird UI effect? I've never seen that. That's crazy. And now we see he's got a Blood Fiend. There's no 2v2 Blood Fiend build that I know that's any good at all. Pretty bad. So I aura up. I'm actually going for stuns and stuff here. So he gets his wave, but I counter stun him there with the Shocking Aura. Unfortunately, I can't transmute it. So we swap, we blast weakness, and we're done. So yeah, that's pretty easy, to be honest. And yeah, as I said at the start, you don't know what you're going to go across. This is the same even in Conquest tournaments, by the way. You know, the first round tends to be extremely easy. And I got to say, I am heartened by that. It feels bad to kind of farm people. And, you know, they can't be having fun in that experience, right? And I just hope that they stick about and get good. But I do like seeing that because PvP discussion is so sour and just broken and fundamentally negative through the established voices that are out there at the moment. It's nice to see, hey, there are still new people playing the game. These are new people that we just beat here. And people that can still learn a lot. And, you know, it's not as doomsday, hopefully, as you can be roped into believing as soon as you start engaging on any level, really, with... PvP is very clicky and it's very sort of circular in the way it discusses things. Anyway, so I kind of like it, you know, as long as these people actually find some passion here instead of this horrible experience. So now that we know that they're bad, just putting it bluntly, we overload early, I race forwards. This guy, so now you'll notice this guy's running all minions. I don't know whether he's counter-comped us or he just forgot to cast all of his stuff before. He may have. So I just hold forwards, and my Necro does his thing. He comes in, he cleaves down. If I want to make something intelligent out of this commentary here, aside from just clearly not using reasonable builds or executing skills much, these guys are crowding next to one another while a Reaper with lots of life force is hitting them. And look at all the boons we've put on him. Look at all the might we've put on him, the quickness. The only thing he's missing is Fury there, but he doesn't need it because he gets extra crit chance in Shroud. So, I mean, he is just going to be monstrously destroying them. And yeah, so we get the double kill. There is an interesting thing going on with the Reaper build you'll see later, which has worked quite well over the two Dwayna's duos I played. But there you go. So that's round one. We progress to the next bracket. And there are going to be a lot because there's a lot of players. It's really kind of fun. So let's see the next one. So here, I may as well show you. This is the roster list. And you see that it actually scrolls quite a lot. This is for round 2 as well. So like half the people have already been kicked. Some people are already engaging on the 3rd round here while we're just waiting for the 2nd. And we basically slam dunk 1 ours. So yeah, a lot of people were participating. And have every time I've seen this come up. This is actually NA Prime, this tourney. Right, so next round, we're on the Asura Arena. This is the new map that they added. Both of them feel new to me because I've never really played Hall of the Mist. There is a sudden death mechanic we will talk about by the end of this video you guys might not know about. And I didn't know about it really until this tourney. Not well enough anyway. But yeah, so Asura Arena, this one, well, the other one's kind of distinctively closed in, and you've got, like, the side ramps, which is more than enough to be interesting. You know, they're just close enough to jump dodges between them. This map is instead much more open, and you get the ledge on the top, which allows you to do interesting things with ports. There's a lot you can do with line of sight and stuff here, actually. I really like this arena in its simplicity. I really do. So, what do we do? Well, we only get 20 seconds, you'll notice, to figure out what you want to do. So, we press B to see, and I noticed that I'm against 2 Scourges. So, I suppose there's a chance one of them could be Power, but generally speaking, they're probably going to be Condi. So, assuming they're not doing anything really bizarre, which could squeeze them a win, and that's actually one of the cool things about this format that I like right now. Maybe I'll end up finding it really frustrating, but that idea that you can trick people out into, they'll think that you're Condi, and then they're going to try and counter comp you, so you win because you weren't in the end. But anyway, since Power Scourge isn't a realistic thing right now, let's not get into the whole discussions about Power Scourge. I'm guessing they're Condi, so I swap off of Earth and onto Fire, yeah? So the Fire variant I run, really it's all revolving around this trait here, which was buffed extremely recently. It means every time you apply an aura, you Condi cleanse. And every time you transmute an aura, you double Condi cleanse. Really strong. You also get Sunspot, which is an aura that we share every time we go to Fire. So that's like even more cleanse. I run Soldier Runes, which is more cleanse on every single utility skill here. It's just a ton of cleanse. I was thinking about cleansing water, which is the classic cleanse variant, but actually I think it's a net loss for the team for the 2v2 if you actually make this swap here. So anyways, it's just a bit of napkin speculation on that I had before. The last thing I could theoretically change is this here, which hurts my water cooldowns but gives me extra cleanse when I go to water. There you go, and we're done. That's it. So and again, there are options, but there you go. So we're ready to face against the Scourges here. Going to be pushing in towards that far gate. So you can choose to walk all the way up, or you can choose to just run circles around like the bottom of the ramps. Depending on what you're against changes what's better, you know. Like if I was against a Fresh Air Ellie, I'd absolutely run in circles around this. You guys should have more than enough of evidence on my channel why that's good. Dead Eyes and things like that as well. I would probably favor being low on the ramp just because the obstructs are better. But, you know, you can climb up. These are steep enough ramps that you do kind of obstruct as well. I mean, it's situational. This Reaper sometimes runs Spectral Walk, and you can run up, forcing them all up, and then just pop back down and stuff, you know. If you're a thief that dies, you can TP up and down state. Well, yeah, not in vice versa. So anyway, we open up. And so there, you can see I got an instant cleanse there on the air overload because the application of the shocking aura was a thing. So I get knocked down, and I'm just holding... I don't care. They can put more Condis on me before I decide to finally cleanse. So I go for that there. Here we leapt towards them, and I was going for the Amoeb, and obviously that's not going to happen while I'm in midair. They elite here. Do they double elite? I think there's just the one. But I've got enough cleanse to just wander out of it, basically. I want to really delay with the Obsidian Flesh. I go for it now. You notice my Reaper's still very nice and healthy. I'm favoring Earth Overloads and stuff right now because what I really want to do is land Immobes. Immobilization is really nice here. You find, like, if we're against, like, Firebrand Scourge and stuff, they have, like, a lot of stab that can stop you locking them in place. But one way you might be able to sometimes is with an Immobe. And that happens in a lot of these matchups anyway. So, yeah, we go for that. I take my Water 3 here. This actually isn't that good. I need to get better at this, but if I Water 3'd now, when the Ice Field was down, that would be another Aura, another Cleanse, and more Synergy, and all kinds of other stuff. I think the Ice Field was down anyway. That's just one of the things I need to be careful of. Earth 3 as well is really good. So anyway, we kill this guy. It's really easy. The other Necro was just watching. And so unfortunately, and so now I stand between the two bodies to overload and cleave them both. It doesn't matter. We won this round because one of the Necromancers wasn't really playing. If you rewind the video, you'll see that one of them was just not aggressive enough, and he was just letting his friend die. They didn't really push together. Also, playing double Scourge, going all in one basket with the Condi, and we kind of counter that. You know, we're just more rounded how we're running, you know. So yeah, we take them out. Now, they're best out of 3s, okay? So we won this here, but we got to win 2 in a row to go ahead. I think the final should be best out of 5s, personally. But, maybe the devs want to keep the tournament snappy. It's amazing because for having so many more brackets, these tourneys do still last about as long as the Conquest ones, just because the games themselves are so much shorter. So yeah, we won the first, and now we got to win the second. We're assuming that they haven't changed any of their builds, so we're not going to change ours. What I can do is might stack here at the start. Again, I mentioned that before, but yeah. So here, again, I mentioned this on the regular game of the day yesterday, which was not a very good video or match, but you know, one thing that's really nice about the Tempest support here is Firebrand's mantras and tome pages are hideous in vertical spaces. They're so annoying. They have to cling to each other very closely, which means they get cleaved together very closely. One thing that's really cool about Tempest is, while efficacy, I do think it's a step down. In terms of like utilizing its skills, I can be underneath and I can basically offer 100% support, because all of my stuff has like such wide ranges and stuff on it, and it doesn't care that much about verticality. A Firebrand spamming mantras and stuff couldn't do anything here, but I can do any number of things. This isn't actually a great example. I push swiftness. These two are standing back here. We're assuming it's pretty much a free win. So yeah, I go one immob into another, and now into another. He moves, he elites, so I Obsidian Flesh outside of the elite. And I just make sure I stay out of the shades. This is actually kind of funny. My mind is basically turned off, by the way, in this fight. I just want to be clear. You see we get a really nasty axe attack there. The axe 2 lands for like 10k damage. It's some crazy number there. And we haven't even like capped out might and stuff. It's really, really good. I take the Comet over him to daze. Bit of extra chill here as well. His nice ranged ability. Keeping that chill out as well. All the chill application on this is really good, because it just grinds people's cooldowns down. So here I transmute. So here we've gone Lich. All right, so yes, the elite that our Reaper is running here is actually Lich, and this is genuinely helped in a lot of fights and swung a lot of fights. Is awesome. You get immensely tanky, and I can help sustain it by making it reflect and healing it up and cleansing it and all that stuff. So here goes Lich. I use Shocking Aura here, but the actual value of Shocking Aura doesn't really do anything, but it applies to cleanse, and then I transmute instantly, not for a stun, but just for more cleanse. And all we really have to do is auto. Here, he's trying to learn if you can auto-attack backwards on Lich, which you can, it looks like. There, you get a kill. But yeah, so the guy goes down, and again, it's over. His blood res. We position our Lich so that you can clean. I've shown this off in Game of the Day in the past. You stand on the body and you hit the other person's. I think that was a while ago. I did a Game of the Day where I was playing on Lich form. But yeah, and I go down. I actually get melted out here. I dodged the first guy's fear, but not the second. They're both on me, and that means I can't use my heal skill, and I actually go down. But, you know, our Reaper's 100% health, and there was no real risk here. So, yeah, that's the next win there. Moving on to the next round. Hopefully the competition starts getting a bit higher. And you can see they did tear up a little bit there, you know, a little bit. So we're back into Hall of the Mists as the numbers start whittling down. Right as soon as I can, with 25 seconds left on the clock, I look and we see. So this is interesting. It's a Mirage and a Spellbreaker. The Spellbreaker is almost guaranteed to be power, but the Mirage, the best Mirage builds right now are Condi builds. That's not that there aren't power ones, but they're generally Condi. So what is this? Well, now we don't know. Mirage is a bit of a wild card at the moment. He could be running a really bursty Shatter thing. He could be running a silly Greatsword Spit Surgy kind of thing. He could be running Condi stuff. I've shown all the different Mirage variants off here on different Game of the Day. So what do we think this is, guys? Well, if you're a very casual watcher of mine, or you don't PvP that much, your guess is actually as good as mine here. We just don't know. So what do I do with my build? Do I go hybrid and, you know, have a bit of flat damage? Maybe I go Earth, but I pick up Diamond Skin, you know? Well, so what I decide in the moment is I'm actually more scared of the Condi pressure, or I'm more comfortable completely nullifying the Mirage with this and the warrior can be kited to a certain extent. Yeah. The main risk that the warrior represents is actually CC lock, which we're a little bit low on stab here. So you have to... So that's the main fear of the warrior, is my mindset at the time. So I stay on Condi. And again, there is comms going on. We're talking about various things. But that's basically what it becomes. I actually think right at the end I was going to swap to Earth. I'd become convinced by the idea. But it was too late. So I just stayed like this. So back here. By the way, you get kind of a decision as you start. You can stay towards base and force them in, you know, into this beautiful little choke, which can be good. Obviously, we have no life force, so it's not actually, for this composition, it's not that good. But for certain other things, you could do that. You could come up here, anticipating to jump across and bait them down. You could try and charge the other side and stop them getting up their ramp. Such a simple map, but I like it. I really do. So yeah, we're moving out. We see that the warrior races towards us. The Mesmer jumps towards the pillar. And what the Mesmer's actually used here is an eye wave, which is a greatsword skill. I haven't quite assessed that he's power yet. I'm overloading. Air overload's a good thing to do as we come up here, because they're going to be forced to take the extra little ticks, but also you get nice stun counters and stuff. The warrior tries to come up. I go for a knockdown, but he still has one stab left, which is a real shame. You notice I get hit really hard. Swapping to Earth won't save me that well either, because I don't have Stoneheart because I'm still on the Fire variant. So I Obsidian Flesh very early and get the Frost Aura up. And we get chunked here again. And at this point, I realized that the... what I actually got hit really hard by there, I think, is the warrior. But I realized that I'm the target from this Mesmer. My Reaper is still 100% health and fine. So I'm the target. So I come to LOS here, because on a greatsword build, he has to move right into me, which is what you can see here. And in theory, the Reaper can come down. We can pair up. That wasn't communicated in the moment. Once I force them here, it would be kind of cool if the Reaper was down here as well, but, you know, it's all in the moment, happened very fast. Now I've got to kite away, so I actually take a double dodge there, but I get tethered. Even in the post-commentary, I don't see that tether, which is really frustrating. We take this evade as well. You guys know how strong the mobility is, but, you know, some of these maps aren't as good. Here, I shock in aura, and it stuns my aggressor, which is really good, and I get this up, which stops any kind of projectiles there might be if there was, like, a rampage boulder. Get another dodge to cover for the next aura. Jump back in and transmute to stun, and go for the weakness as well. It's really important I weakness them. But they evade. My Lich is up. So what I really... And the Lich has been behind me chasing. What I should have done, the best win condition here was... You remember when I would kite all around here? I should have about-faced and gone back to kite over there and, like, done more vertical stuff on that other side. Because that would have put the Lich in a better position. I should have been kiting under the safety of my Lich for a lot longer. The Lich has been attacking the Warrior here as well, by the way. So I get Split Surge down. And me dying first, you notice the enemy team's very low. And this first attack on the Mesmer hit, well, not the first attack, but, you know, a targeted Lich attack on that Mesmer really chunked him. So even though I've gone down first, there is a potential play here. I Vapor just to delay. I don't actually think the res is safe for my ally, and I don't think he does either, so he doesn't go for it. So I'm a bit concerned, and now you can see I want to go Earth next run, because my specialization did not match the fight. But the Reaper is still going, and he scores a down. So there's a potential comeback here. So all we can do is watch while we're here. Really what he needs is a Warhorn 4 here. He doesn't run Great Sword, so you can't pull in with that or anything. Or, you know, and he's just left Shroud, so he's not going to have another Fear. There's the new Shroud, sorry. So you get the Fear. And this Warrior is playing really badly here. My heart kind of sank a little bit here because I was upset I died seeing that this Warrior... Like, it's imperative that Warrior stays up and cleaves. I mean, he is getting hit by Shroud, so maybe it's okay for him to drop. You'll see him do it again in a second, though. So now, you see how my ally has left Shroud really low, but the Warrior can't punish. This is it. This is the win for the enemy team. But the Warrior can't punish because he's all the way down there. Here, I remember calling... I was, in the moment, I was mostly watching the Rogue. I was like, oh, watch the Rogue. But the Rogue gets the strike, downing my friend. who's going to rally because the warrior can't even res here. So we get the rally. It looks like the warrior goes for the friggin' stomp as well. My Reaper comes to the edge. It could have been a nice bait. If he'd done the fake jump there, 100% would have saved his life. I don't think he had the confidence for that. So he just stood on the edge. But look at this. He Great Swords 3s off. Which kind of lines up really funnily with the Shroud there. He notices that his mistake is going to Shroud and that's just going to drain. So he goes straight back to Staff to generate more. But it's a risky play because he has a cooldown on Shroud and he's currently in it. So now the warrior just needs to get there in time. He drops down because he's delaying for the new Shroud. And really, there's 20 seconds left on the board right now, which I'll talk to you guys about later when that becomes relevant in another round. This is it. So he takes the double dodge, I think that was I saw there. And boom, here we go. So it's Shrouds v the Warrior, and really what he wants to do is cleave him down as best possible. Warrior goes shield block, kites away, rampage. That's a bad counter because now that he's in Shroud, he doesn't have any corrupt. He has corrupt on Shroud entry, and he has it, you know, outside in theory if he was running the corrupt well, or he's not actually on GS, so our corrupt is actually, or he's got it on the axe. But in this situation now, he can't really do much against the rampage, and the boulder connects. Even if that boulder hadn't landed, I think that was lost anyway. Just given how little time was left. So here's a main thing. When the timer runs out, which it almost did there, players can no longer heal one another. And there's a lot of interesting mechanics to think about there in terms of, like, does barrier get around that? Which down states are better or worse? You know, there's all kinds of fun little things. But basically the situation was my Reaper was on lower health than the warrior at the start of the sudden death mechanic at the end where no one can heal, and I think that's it would have been done. Nonetheless, you know, we're a good ways into the tournament here. This would be an alright place to lose, sort of, but I'm feeling very confident that we'll be fine as soon as I go Earth, because we're going to get all that meaty protection. Don't forget, protection is worth more for Tempest than other classes. I'm going to get Stone Heart. I'm going to be splashing out good prot on him as well. It's just going to be fine now, right? Because we know that they're both power. And knowing that the Mesmer is power as well, instead of focusing on the Warrior, our Reaper's going to go on the Mesmer. So those are the plans. Exact same opening. He I-waves straight into the GS4. But I can counter GS4 with Shocking Aura. What these guys will do is they'll come in, and they should be evading during their sweep attack. But it will proc the Aura, and he's not going to get any value out of that. So that's another thing I really like about it. Anyway, they come on me. This time I go Earth. I'm eating the same stuff, but I'm on tons of health because they can't crit or do anything. This is the target. He illusory ambushed behind us. Oh, no, I think this will be it here. So he kites away. Temporal curtains there, but it doesn't matter because I have stab from my thing. Oh, yeah, I push forward. My guy's healthy, and I'm a little bit low, so I can... So here's... my enemy team kind of makes a mistake here in that the Mesmer... You know, there's a funny thing with human psychology. I'm not going to get totally off track. But you know when you hear about, like, these horrendous nightclub fires and stuff, where people, like, get caught in these horrible crushes and just all the depressing topics, right? There's, like, a thing, like, in our brains that means when we are in danger, we just have this really natural, instinctive desire to return to where we came from. Like, we know where we came in, that's the exit, that's how to leave. And that gets people killed all the time, like in real life, in disastrous scenarios. That's why they say you should scout out and find fire exits and stuff. Listen, that's what this Mesmer did here. His win condition was to stay with his warrior, but by kiting over here back to spawn, which he thinks is safe, he just allows me to keep away from the warrior too, and I can kill him with the fire 3. His best play was to stay near the warrior and, like, do some jumping stuff and kite around these pillars and things, not just walk back to where he came from. But he's just thinking of that in the moment. Anyway, so yeah, the warrior's hitting me pretty hard because I just left Earth. Really squishy stuff here, honestly, on my end. And I go down, but we get the rally, obviously, because the entire time I'm the focus. I honestly, the damage that is available to my ally is just obscene. So that's now 1 for 1, right? It's best out of 3, so we get another match here. And we're just going to anticipate doing the same kind of thing. The enemy team as well has got all the... You see this ready up check here? This is awesome, right? It basically means you can take this time to discuss how you want to change your builds if you like. And they can do that right now. They're defeated, but they can go into their build panels and they can change stuff. And it's kind of like it's a part of the game type almost. I don't know whether ArenaNet foresaw that or knew whether the community would like that or dislike that. When it comes to character swaps, I don't think that should be a thing, and apparently there's some cheesy stuff going on. But I really, really like it, you know, and you keep yourself down. Curiously, it's us that are having the conversation and delaying the ready check. My opponents are confident, it seems. Anyway, so yeah, next round, I guess we'll just wait for it. I'm not sure what else there is to say. There's just little jumps I want to practice here like this, yeah, like... that I could have been doing better that game as well to shake the warrior off. Like, if you're a GS warrior and you're trying to, like, land the F1 or something and I'm on the slight higher rock than you don't hit it. You know, there's all these little things. Full counter really is fiddly as hell as soon as you introduce a bit of verticality. So, how do I open this time? Well, I'm starting on Earth, and if I hit that overload nice and early, it puts AoE protection out. I even go for the Frost Aura. So I'm literally halving all damage our team takes right now with those two up. Even more so for me since I can't be critted. I'm just holding in Earth. This guy's on me. Yeah, so I pushed forward. He illusionary ambushed behind. So I turned around to try and reestablish the target. Here we take Lich. He tries to portal away from the Lich. This is crazy. I cannot contemplate any world where the portal is a good play there. I don't know why you'd run it on this map here. Maybe there's a thing. The warrior doesn't bail out with him, though. I mean, it would have been alright if the Mesmer left. The warrior was standing still as well. Now the Mesmer came back before he'd fully reset or whatever, so we just instantly get back on him. We go for the CCs. And you see, I'm just trying to basically hold them down, lock them down. There, I could have stayed on Earth, honestly, and used the 3. Could have got an aura out of that and some more immobilization. There's not too much smart for me to say here, and because the matchup, I think, is already pretty well described. Here, I'm kiting around. The might is irrelevant. I'm just doing this because I know I'm going to be kiting anyway, and the auras and stuff will be extra heals later. Back towards the Reaper. You'll notice that it's pretty flighty, right? You don't have to go all... People have this weird impression of Guild Wars that it's all burst and it's like, oh, you just clobber heads and it's over, but it's really not, you know. They don't even have a support. And look at how much disengaging and re-engaging there is. And I'm not relying on the weird portal to articulate that. You've seen it, right? A bit poor positioning from me, to be honest, there. I should have been with the Reaper for longer. Into air now, just for the air autos to try and pressure that. Get Shocking Aura and stop this guy counter-cleaving. And yeah, he tethers me, so I don't walk away because I don't want to get pulled by it. Here I could Swirling Winds to stop his hammer or whatever. It doesn't matter. So there you go. That was a little bit harder there. I think you'll agree. And we get to the next rung of the tourney. Now, on the next Q-Pop, there had been a build in the middle of the tournament. So I stopped recording, logged out, and, you know, logged back in afterwards. We went for the next round, but I forgot to restart recording as soon as the build came through. So I don't have my own footage of this next game. Luckily, I have the Reaper's footage, so we can check it out from the other side, and maybe that even makes this video a little bit more interesting. I'm still largely going to talk about what I'm doing and my decisions here. Even though we'll be watching the Reaper's footage. You guys should know how Reaper plays by now, right? We can talk about his utilities a little bit here as well for what it's worth. I can't remember right now what we're against, but something with boons, which is why we've got this well. Spectral Armor sustains you in Shroud a ton. If we're against power, I already give a load of protection, so you might say this is terrible, but it is a stun break, and it sustains Shroud pretty well. So it's a good utility. This also gives a ton of Shroud and can get some interesting plays with the pool. Not too many, but it can do that. And then this well is also extremely strong. If we're against Condi, you'd probably sub this well out for the Well of Power, which turns off Condi. So anyway, next round. We'll see how it goes. I'm still waiting to see what it is we're fighting against. And you'll see how it leapfrogs one arena type, next arena, and you just go backwards and forwards. The finals, I think, are supposed to nearly always take place on this map. We're not at the finals yet, but we're getting close. So we're against a Hollow and something else. They've stealthed, okay? So the fact that there's a Hollow there That's one of those things as well where it could be a Condi Hollow, but it's almost 0 chance to be, so it's going to be lots of power. So you'll probably find I'm on Earth for this matchup. And yeah, so they've stealthed. What's likely happening here is they're going to come and burst us. So we can see that the Reaper establishes a few marks here just to throw them off. You get another little animation right here. This is the collapse, which I saw. And immediately, I'm throwing stuff out. I'm giving protection nice and early so that we can defend ourselves. So this is interesting because he's got aggro now and not me. So it's my job to keep up with him. It's our job to keep together. Now, here's what's really fun. While he's in Shroud, I don't want to use any of my big heals. I don't want to use my Skill 6 or my Water Overload while he's in Shroud. He can see when I'm about to end my Water Overload and deliberately dip out of Shroud for that purpose. Here comes the Lich. And while he's in Lich, you know, look at that health. I wonder how the new 10% health runes feel on a transform like this. But yeah, so it's my job just to keep the sustain up. Now, Lich used to pulse stab. It doesn't anymore. So here they've managed to break through it. And he's going to be... Oh, no, it is still pulsing stab. I swear to God I read a patch note that changed. Didn't they change that? Okay, the pulsing... Well, it only pulsed once, and now it's gone again. No, I think it just pulses really slowly. Anyway, yeah, you'll see that Lich is quite often... some of you will be really raising your eyebrows at this. And you'd probably be right to be, because it's like, Lich, isn't that such a free kill? To be honest... It hasn't felt that way so far. Not in 2v2s. In Conquest, in 3v3s, in 4v4s, yeah, you're going to melt instantly. But with a dedicated support, you wait a little while for them to be softened up just a bit. Then you bust out the Lich. It's pretty good. And Lich is easy for me to support. I get max value out of everything. There's no, like, fear of Shroud doing things. Also, while you're in Lich, you're still proccing, like, your passive traits and stuff. Like, here he's on lesser spectral armor right now, which means... and Lich itself is a spectral. It's all life force. So the second that you want, even if you get really low, you can hide in Shroud. And then the Tempest can heal you when you leave Shroud, like, way later. And it's just so much damage for him. Going Shroud into Lich into Shroud is a lot for the enemy team to keep pressuring through. And as you can see here, they're having to kite away. So yeah, the enemy team splits up. We score a kill. Here I go for my skill 6. Thus healing him up a bit. We go for the Axe 2 there. Air overloads. And yeah, we win that round there. So yeah, that was against Power. Sorry, yeah, it was Hollow Spellbreaker, which actually looked really threatening on the intro to me. Given how hard, if you think about the pressure I was taking on that previous match, but now it's a good build. It's not like a weird Greatsword Mesmery build. And not that Greatsword is inherently terrible, by the way. I'm just saying that a Hollow, you know, it's got so much more stuff it can do, more CC and comfort. It can, if I get CC chained in the wrong way, I could be very, very, very dead. So it looked really scary. Luckily, we're on a more open map here with more kite potential and stuff, and we took the initiative. There's a very cool thing in Dwayna's duos where you can kind of feel if you hit hard first, it kind of means everything, you know? Like, once someone starts getting put on the back foot, it can be really hard to reset and shift that in the other direction. You can really feel like a seesaw. So here, I start going with the Might on open, which might seem silly, but actually it does improve the poke at the very beginning here, at least. And you'll see here that the pressure that as far as I remember anyway. Maybe it was a different game, actually. So, yeah, once again, he's the target. We're playing with the ramp. I can be here at the end of the Earth thing. We've got plenty of proc going around. They're not going to be able to rip it very easily on their composition. That's one big thing. Look at all these boons on the opponent. They're all going to get corrupted and ripped by Axe 3, by Spiteful Spirit, by the Well. So here, Big Pressure can save himself with Shrouds. And here's the other thing as well. Like, if I put an Earth Aura on him in Shroud, yeah, I don't heal him, but the Earth Aura is still the Earth Aura, you know? Like, he's still reflecting one in Shroud. And so now, when he reflects a projectile, the projectiles come out modified by all of the Reaper Shroud buffs, you know, like the 600 extra ferocity and stuff. So if he's in Shroud and get Photon blitzed by the Hollow, or Particle accelerated, it's hitting him really hard back in return. Unlike on Scourge, where that's just not a thing at all. You're a Condi build in the first place. So yeah, lots of damage here, and I've been doing my best. You'll notice how healthy I am. But we're back up to 100%, so you can dip in. And here I'll show you. Here's one of the main interactions you find a lot. Unfortunately, he has a lot of his visual effects culled out. But here you can see I am floating in the air. I'm in a water overload, and I've explained that. And these guys have been scared off a bit because it's Shroud. So what we're going to do is he's watching the timing, and he knows that it's about 3 seconds long. And the second that it's about to end, he's left Shroud with a dodge roll, covering him. He's invulnerable as he's left here. And right as I've paused, lengthening this window of time here. But right as he did, my water overload ended, giving him more protection, more Frost Aura, and a good heal there. The other thing that usually happens right now is I also have my heal up, my skill 6. Ideally, he stays with me just a little bit more to use that. Obviously, I know he's been aggressed. It's kind of a thing of trust, really. But like a lot of this pressure's landing anyway. So what I really want to do is use my skill 6 to keep him alive. And there's a lot of pressure here. And here, there's a Lich, right? And you might say, he's got no health. What the hell? Why would you Lich when you got no health? But watch, he goes from 3,000 health to 5,000. And I'm confident I can reset. Oh, no, never mind. Not this one. I guess that Lich wasn't very good. Quite often when that happens, though, you can resustain it very, very quickly and very heavily. He trades the Lich for Shroud. Does that improve the Shroud pool because you have more health when you go into it? Probably not. Do you have to manually leave first? Anyway, you can see this is actually a really scary game here. Most of our, DPS has been pressured hard, but we're managing to throw a bit back on them consistently. We got reasonable vulnerability, reasonable might, well, good might, actually, I would say. And here with this, I think with that last moment, we finally get off the back foot here. And you see how we're just constantly kiting? I'm not even that close a lot of the time. If I was a Firebrand right now, you'd say that this is hideous support positioning and whatnot. But it's really not on a Tempest because you're still getting that close gap here. So here we're getting the turnaround damage again. Into the Axe 2 here. They're managing to sustain just a little bit. Get the Locust Swarm up, but the Swiftness is immediately removed. Not quite sure what's going on there. And there you go. That was a good skill 6 I managed to use there. Wash the pain away. That's what it's called. I've been avoiding that term the entire video. I don't know why. Wash the pain away. Climbing back up. There is actually a big important thing to... Sorry, this video kind of got a bit boring, I guess, for a second. Let me just say something. Right here, I won't rewind, maybe a second ago, what we've been doing is watching the timer. So you can't see that the quality's a bit iffy, but this says 0000. Basically, when the clock was about 1 to 3 seconds over, on my side, I spammed every single heal I have in the game. And my Reaper stayed out of Shroud for that duration deliberately. You notice he's got a lot of or he should have a few different auras on him here. The reason that we've spammed every single heal. Now, the reason for that is because as soon as that hits 0, all healing is disabled. So you want to start as high as possible. Then after that, it's all about trading damage with the enemy team. And the idea is that compositionally, this wins because he can hide in Life Force, which you can heal up. So he's essentially invulnerable, even though he shouldn't be able to get healed. When he comes out, he can use Spectral Grasp and stuff and get back in again. And a lot of the mitigation I offer as a support is swirling winds and counter stuns and just straight up flat damage prevention because of protection and it being stronger and stuff. That's kind of the idea. Not that Firebrand can't also do a lot of that stuff itself too, So that's the idea. We healed up really heavily, and now the enemy team, right? What's been happening the rest? We've been DPSing them, they've resustained. They can't resustain anymore. Look, I'm 100% health, and we still have a ton of Shroud here. So look at the win condition that manifests here in sudden death. Really nice. And they can't do anything now. They absolutely cannot. The chrono goes down. It was a hard-fought battle here. But, we're taking out people that have climbed through just as many rounds as us now, And so there you have it. Nice rounds. Unfortunately, I didn't have my own footage of that one. I guess nor did I have any footage of this round. I thought I did, man. I thought it was only one that I'd missed. All right, well, so next round. This is the semi-finals, by the way. After this, we'll be into the finals, and it will be the best of the best that was in this 2v2 tourney, if we can win this. So yeah, I don't know what we're against, but I'll be able to tell you what I was running based on what I see. So going through. Okay, so we're against Firebrand Scourge. Right, so Firebrand Scourge is the same concept that we're using. Like, you saw us fighting double hybrid last round. And you've seen us fighting double DPS and stuff. Well, here you're looking at, they're also on DPS plus support. But they're on, like, verified for, since Path of Fire's release, very solid, perfect combos. We don't have to go into all the reasons that's really good. But you're looking at Path of Fire versus HOT here, really. Firebrand Scourge versus Reaper Tempest. So, we engage with some marks. They engage with some marks. Torch 5 comes down. Clips the Reaper. That seems pretty bullshitty to me, actually. I don't know. I don't know what his latency is. But, immediately counters with the Well of Power. Probably a bit too early. Because I'm spamming auras at the same time, which cleanses it all, and that's going to be really crucial later. In fact, I remember very distinctly, I'd spammed so heavily here, I actually said out loud, listen, I've spammed quite heavy. Let's be cautious. Don't go too deep, because we will bottom out. There's going to be a dip in our sustain that we have to bridge over later. You'll notice that they're both very much on our Reaper. You also notice their position. They kind of have to have this position, which means we're getting the free cleave. There's a lot of refinements I want to make to the Tempest build so it can pressure a little bit more, because it's just not getting punished. It could do more with its freedom right now, I think. In any case, Consume Condition Attempt gets taunted, which is really nice. Forces Shroud, so I have to hold off on this stuff. Now, I can still cleanse at this point, and it might be a good idea to keep that clear. It's really difficult for me to look on the top left quite often and see, okay, how much bleed is there? Is it worth? But, you know, 10 Torment, I'm going to cleanse that anyway. Here's a big Consume Conditions. But you notice, even there with the Consumed Conditions, I removed like 3 of the stack before he ate them, which is bad, because if I hadn't done that, he'd be 100% health right now, because he would have eaten them. We get cleared again. I'm on fire, obviously, here. Here comes the Lich. So we wait a minute to use Lich, and look at the win condition that Lich offers here. If this was Chill to the Bone, this would not happen. I'm continuously cleansing and healing this up. He gets corrupted. I'm very healthy on my end. Look how low the Scourge is getting. Boom. Oh, I thought the kill... I boomed prematurely. I'm sorry. Don't tell my girlfriend. So basically, we're going to push back towards them. But you see how hard they got hit here? This is a good example of once you start counter-pressuring, you can save yourself a lot of your own damage that's incoming, right? Good Spectral Grasp. This is a really good Spectral Grasp because it only pulls one of them, which separates them, which is what you want. So we get good Shroud ready for us now. You see the precasted Spectral Armor there? It's to make sure that you can just stay in forever. And just a ton of damage. Splitting those two up with that Spectral Grasp was really, really good there. And yeah, you see how just sustainy we feel as soon as we start getting that little bit of an upper hand? And there you go. That's Heart of Thorns winning there. But so much of this is play style as well. It's kind of fun, actually, because it's not really about the builds to an extent. It's about how the Firebrand Scourge played against us there. They're on small shades. There's like a lot of different distinctions. If they go blood, if they go large shade, if they go small shades. And it's all a lot easier to diagnose and think about in 2v2s, I've found. And I'm saying all of this after just having played 2 tourneys and without a particular, like, manic desire to do them all or to even participate on the one at the end, by the way. So don't let me give you the impression I'm some expert here. This is what I'm thinking. So anyway, we got Might at the start. I use my Water 3 to blast in that as well. So we just got a little bit. The Reaper has a lot of solo might, but he gets it once the targets are below 50% health because of that newly buffed minor trait and spite. You can check out my Balance with Boots video. The most recent one on my main channel, if you want to learn more about that. But yeah, so they go there. I'm not going to aggress too soon at the bottom of the ledge, but then I use the 3 to jump across. This is what you can just jump dodge. I get immediately knocked off, I think, by shield 5 or something. But it's okay, because I actually still... If I'm overloading down here in air, I'm actually still hitting them. You can see the ring there. Oh, no. That was an immobilize skill effect. But you can, right? So... It's a nice thing that's particularly useful in the Asura arena. Here we pull back just a little bit. This one's a good well here, I think. Well of Power. The Well of Power can save me as much as it can save the Necro. These two don't know who they want to go on. So, and Lich is ranged, so he could have done that for free there. He takes the teleport on the Lich this time. Just going for a lot of pressure. So here's really nice. So the big counter to Lich is projectile mitigation, which we see here. So the Firebrand is in his F3 tome, and he can just sustain these bubbles while he's in there. So really what we want to do is... This doesn't mean Lich is automatically trash, right? It does put it on the down step a bit. But what you do is you play the game until you see that he's just dipped out of that tome, and then you do this. Which is something Scourges have to think about when facing Firebrands in their own way with the F2 tome, which has got a ton of cleanse and convert. So, yeah, he dips out and he goes for Shield 5, which is the other thing. But once that's done, because we're Spectral Mastery, Lich actually lasts a good amount of time. Some of you may remember a very infamous nerf where they nerfed the crap out of the duration. At least with the trait, it goes up a little bit. Good Spinal Shivers proc, and this is really the meat of it. You come out of it into, you know, the newly buffed Quickness Shroud. Swap to the Axe 2. That's just... There was just pure pressure there. We got no damage incoming on us. None. Good interrupt here. I really regret that you can't see my footage here. What I've done is I've just Shock and Aura'd and insta-transmute. So you see that we got the interrupt on the down state here. It wasn't really relevant. But I've transmuted for another Stab Rip, which then... no, I guess it doesn't matter. Basically, here we go F1, and Spiteful Spirit hits the stability on the Firebrand, which fears him. And I sustain just a couple more auto attacks while I'm over there. And we get in. And we take the semis. So this is the finals of the NA Prime of last night on Asura Arena. And once again, it's Firebrand Scourge that we're against. And two very prominent, very well recognized and understood as very good PvPers, Firebrand Scourge. Okay, so if anyone's practiced at Firebrand Scourge, the people we're playing against will be practiced at Firebrand Scourge. So this really is the HOTV POF thing. So we'll see how it goes. The game plan is pretty much the same as last round. A lot of what I've been thinking about, what we've been thinking about with this is the matchup versus Firebrand Scourge, because you're gonna be against it, right? So it's just kind of a binary, hey, you don't get very far in a tournament if you can't fight against it. So yeah, I flashed the traits up there for a second. And we see how the round goes. And something very devastating is going to happen on my end here, just by the way. So here we go for I don't use the preemptive Aftershock. Some of you guys from PvE who are pretty liberal with your skills might be thinking I should do that, but I really do want that a little bit later. This can just deny a couple of Staff Autos, which will just deny a little bit of Life Force, can give us a bit of an edge at the start. Even funnier if... the opposing Scourge autos my Reaper while he has this. He gives my Reaper Life Force. I wonder if you could sustain an opponent in Shroud by autoing him as he reflects. Anyway, I come up, he goes low. It's not a great idea, but, you know, again, we still support. You see he's in the ring to get the prot. It's Condi Pressure we're going to be against. So here's the reflect, or one of them. Some marks go down. I see that my opponent, my ally, is the one taking all the pressure. And again, this is where my build currently, I believe, is pretty deficient. I should be able to do more right now. They probably think this is, they're against really trash players here. Just ignoring player names and stuff, because look at the gap between support and thingy. But I estimate this as being okay positioning. I really do. Or I did until I got knocked back. Okay, it wasn't good positioning. I lied. It wasn't good positioning. Still, they baited the Well of Power, which I just would have overlapped with anyway. But yeah, they're playing very well. And what you'll immediately notice is they've hit my DPS harder than most other people have the whole way through. And here, he's been pushed into Shroud right as I use my skill 6, which is really nasty. So a bad opening. A very bad opening. Nonetheless, we have got a good bit of counter pressure. Maintaining the chill, just and, you know, over time, that is frustrating. Here we've got the same setup I was talking about before. Water Overload. Tell him about the Water Overload. He's low under Shroud. He uses Shroud 2 to pull away for a second. Dodges to cover for a second. We pop it on him. It's a big cleanse at the end because it's the fire combo where the Water Aura gives it. It's a good heal. I get axe pulled. A lot of firebrands running axe here. They axe pull into the elite, which looks really dangerous here. I jump over and rebound. It was unnecessary in the end, I think. Well, the rebound on activation does still cleanse, even if I don't get the big proc at the end. And it will do the delayed aura. So he dips out of Shroud right at the end of my Earth here. We get the rebounds. We get the next thing. And now here's the Lich. Okay, this is the Lich I was talking about before. Look at how low it was when he started that. But he pushes in. It's very binary. If you're taking damage from condies, you're taking damage from condies. If you're not, you're not. And I've got transmutes and stuff. So we push, we heal it up, all right? And look at the pressure we're doing. Look at how low the enemy Scourge is getting here. So here I'm starting to cringe at my skills a little bit. It would have been really nice to use a Comet there. But I'm standing underneath because what I'm doing is I'm still healing him. Comet would have been so good. Now, because I could have Cometed before this. Now what I'm doing is water overloading. And while I'm under here, this will still be a full heal. So he looks really low. But just as he leaves Shroud, we proc it up. He cleanses more. More heals, we pull back. And during that exchange of damage, that damage trade there, here there's an Axe 2 happening you can't see on screen. You can see that the Scourge is really low. And this is kind of bad from me as well. My entire positioning here, if I'd been around here, I could have hounded this more. I think in the moment I didn't realize how low he'd got. But yeah, so I go in for the immob here. This is a perfect immobilize. Because right as I do it, the Necro can get in. Actually, the Necro didn't have Shroud. It's not perfect. I feel like I'm commentating a game that I don't remember happening here. Anyway, he's still low. And look at our momentum. Look at my health. Look at his health. This feels like a win right now, right? I take the Fire 2. You notice as soon as I start pressuring, the thing happens. So, we knew that this was going to happen in the moment. Here you can see a Mercy Signet. I do have a play I can make. I could Water and Comet. I think, anyway, unless I just used it. I think I do have a play I can make here, and I think that the builds actually can do better. But there's some real learn to play stuff here. I can't easily retarget to it, so having a ping and then quickly taking target. I could have Cometed, could have interrupted the Mercy. What I'm trying to do is just hit the body a bit and stack Might. What I'm kind of thinking is that the Mercy is going to happen, right? And what we're just trying to do is hit the Firebrand as hard as possible. So this is me hitting the Firebrand. I'm not really going for the body as much as anything else, but in the odd event that this does get interrupted or whatever, I think the Comet would have been the much better play, and my mindset would be different if I came back through this. So anyway, he gets Mercy. I'm still really confident at this point in the fight. Probably too confident. It is the finals, right? And they are good players we're against, playing a meta setup. But we're very healthy. They've just mercied. Look at how low the Firebrand is. All we got to do is kill the Firebrand. You see I take the target on him. I Obsi Flesh because I've just been hit by some Condi. But here's what's kind of amazing to me. Even here, my Reaper, as soon as the Scourge got up, he got to dump a ton of taunt. Look at this. 4 extremely damaging Condis. And my stuff isn't lined up. And he's WSing D'ing through 10 Torment now. And we get chunked really hard. Like, I mean, this is actually mind-blowing, the Condi pressure that just came out there. We do nonetheless keep going for the fight. But we just lost all of our momentum there with that. He dips into Shroud, and this is it. This is fine. All I have to do is just wait. And look, I've got Water Overload, and I've got this for when that Shroud ends. He's going to see the animation first. I mean, I can get punished really hard from this as well when they realize they can interrupt it. But we get it. And here, you see how he's WS and D'ing away just a little bit? We can get much better skill 6s on that. There as well, he got poisoned, but we cleansed it before continuing with our heals and regenerative effects. And so, okay, and now here's the thing. 6 seconds till the end, and unfortunately, they're both very healthy. One of us is on half health. So, sudden death begins. Now, he does have full Shroud, and yes, that's a lot of Condi. I can potentially cleanse it. My idea here is I'll be under and support from underneath, because all of it will go up there. But here's another mechanic I didn't know about. The outside wall is coming in, and if you stand in that, you just die. It's like loads of pressure. And the inside is expanding. I didn't know this existed. So I'm getting myself killed right now. Look at all this damage I'm taking that I can't heal or do anything. And I had no idea. I mean, it's bad anyway. I wasn't healing up. We basically lost when this had happened, we had no win condition anymore except to just push, and I can't do enough. But I just die. I was like, oh, there's a field that expands from underneath, and so unfortunately, round 1 of the finals, it doesn't go our way, but we do take them to a pretty good fight. And hey, who knows, if I'd landed that comet, and it was a messy fight on my end as well. There's a lot of little things I pointed out here where it was like, oh, we had a rough start. The kill on the Scourge could have been earlier if I'd been moving quicker. One thing that I'm not paying any attention to right now that the build is capable of is using the Earth 3 in combo fields for even more cleanse, and the Water 3 in combo fields for even more cleanse, and just there's little things like that that I've just... I want to play more. That's why you saw yesterday's game of the day. I was like, oh, I'll play some Tempest. I can't believe this video's been an hour long. What the hell? An hour? Jesus Christ. All right, we'll have to finish this up pretty quick. Well, this is very close to the end now, of course, because we're in the finals. So, next round. Taking ages to proc. There we go. I skipped the footage forward just a little bit there. Still feeling pretty good. They gave a lot more damage than many of the other Scourges have been doing. But we'll see. We push hard. So, we do make a decision here that I'll go really aggressive at the start. Which, in the end, I don't actually think works too well. We get really separated again at the start. I keep the Scourge back there, sort of, but... the train comes on him hard now, and I don't know how... so here, I'm stunning and trying to keep them away a bit. Weakness isn't really valuable. Here I get a really high value Wash the Pain Away. I get interrupted in Rebound, which is bad. He's forced into Shrouds. His heal's been interrupted, which is what happened before Shroud. So he's low health. He wanted to heal, but he got interrupted with it. So now I rebound him, and he says, I'm dead. And I say, no, you're not dead. You've got Rebound. So here he's at 3%, and then he dies, but the rebound triggers and heals him a bit. I cancel that fire overload because I'm just not going to get it in time. Go straight into water and use the water too. You notice how I got no time to counter pressure here, right? The Lich obviously was a little bit of sustain, but yeah, we just get melted out, and it's kind of just a complete catastrophe and just instantly lose. Right at the start there. So, yeah, there you go. That's Dwayna's shows. Even if we lose in the finals like that, I thought I had a lot of fun. It was very cool. An easy 20G and a fun way to spend an hour or so. I mean, weirdly, this video has been about as long as the tourney was, with all the downtime between matches included and everything, genuinely. So, that's the first time I think that's ever happened, but there you have it. It about lines up in real time. So there you go, guys. It's only available for a little while, and there's going to be a really big tournament very soon. At the end of the week or in a couple of days or something. I don't know exactly when. You might want to consider actually playing in it. Because remember how this video started, how easy those early rounds were. There will be appropriate people for you to fight, and you can have, some entertainment on your way up. Cheers, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks very much for watching. See you next time.